Saving Home. Chapter 8. The California sun hit differently than the humidity of D.C. It was sharper, clearer, exposing everything in high definition. For the first 3 days in San Francisco, they lived in a suspended reality inside Joe's hotel suite. The room became a capsule, sealed off from the demanding rhythms of the hospital and the ballpark. Here, there were no pagers, no pitch clocks, no public. They didn't just cross the line of intimacy, they obliterated it. It wasn't hesitant, like their first kiss. It was an inevitable collision of two people who lived their lives at maximum intensity. Joe touched her with the same focus he brought to everything he valued, but with a hunger that stripped away Kate's clinical detachment layer by layer. And Kate, for the first time in her adult life, surrendered the need to lead. She let him hold her, let him anchor her, let herself be nothing more than a woman in love with a man. "You have a scar here," Joe murmured one morning, tracing a faint white line on her hip. The sheets were tangled around them, the Golden Gate Bridge visible through the sheer curtains, obscured by morning fog. "Appendectomy? Bike accident before med school. I wasn't always this graceful. I like it. It's proof you're human." He kissed the spot, sending a shiver through her that had nothing to do with the temperature. "I was beginning to think you were built in a lab." Kate ran her hand through his messy morning hair. "Says the man who tracks his REM sleep and caloric intake on a spreadsheet. That's maintenance. This," he pulled her closer, skin against skin, warm and solid. "This is living." They fell into a domestic routine that shouldn't have felt so natural. Kate worked remotely in the mornings, while Joe went to the stadium for early treatment. She'd order room service, avocado toast and black coffee, and he'd return in the afternoon, smelling of shower soap and anticipation. She went to the games, sitting in the family section this time, hidden behind oversized sunglasses and a generic navy cap. She watched him differently now. She knew the tension in his thighs before he sprang up to field a bunt. She knew the specific tilt of his head that meant he was annoyed with the umpire. On the field, Joe was electric. He hit .450 over the San Francisco series. He blocked balls in the dirt with a ferocity that had the beat writers scrambling for superlatives. He played like a man who had found his center of gravity. "It's serotonin," Kate diagnosed clinically on the third night, lying across his chest as they watched the postgame recap on his laptop. "Oxytocin levels are elevated. It reduces cortisol and improves focus." Joe chuckled, the sound vibrating through her ribcage. "Or maybe I just like showing off for my girl." "Your girl," Kate repeated, testing the weight of it. It felt terrifying. It felt right. Too possessive? "Accurate," she whispered. By Thursday morning, the bubble had to burst. Kate had a flight back to D.C. at 11 a.m., landing just in time to sleep 4 hours before a sadistic 6 a.m. shift on Friday. The mood in the suite was subdued. Joe packed his gear bag efficiently while Kate folded her clothes, restoring order to her luggage. "I hate this part," Joe said, zipping his bag. He sat on the edge of the bed, watching her. "It's 3 weeks. You'll be back for the homestand." 3 weeks is a long time to go without my biomechanics consultant. "You have video chat, and I expect you to keep up with the stretching." Kate snapped her suitcase shut, masking the hollow feeling in her stomach with action. "Hey." Joe stood up and crossed the room. He took her face in his hands, forcing her to look at him. "This isn't the end. It's just an interval." "I know. I'm gonna walk you down." Kate hesitated. "Is that smart? It's 9 a.m. People are awake. We'll take the service elevator and go out the side entrance where the black cars wait. Nobody will look for us there. The media is waiting at the front for the team bus at 10. It seemed like a reasonable calculation. Kate nodded. "Okay." They took the service elevator down to the garage level. It was quiet, smelling of concrete and exhaust. Joe carried her bag, refusing to let her take it, his other hand resting casually at the small of her back. The car Joe had ordered was waiting near the exit ramp, the morning sun slicing through the garage opening in bright, blinding beams. As they walked toward the sedan, the reality of leaving him hit Kate. She stopped, just for a second, turning toward him. "Joe." He didn't say anything, just dropped the bag and pulled her in. It wasn't a polite goodbye. He kissed her with desperation that ignored the setting, the time, and the risk. It was a claim, a promise, and a plea, all at once. When they broke apart, they were both breathless. "Call me when you land," he said, his voice rough. "I will." He picked up her bag with his left hand. With his right, he reached out and laced his fingers through hers. The gesture was intimate and grounding. He squeezed her hand, looking at her with an open, unguarded expression that Kate had come to rely on. They walked toward the car, hand in hand, stepping out of the shadows of the garage and into the shaft of sunlight near the exit. Click. Whir. Click, click, click. The sound was mechanical, rapid fire, distinct from the ambient city noise. Kate froze. Her head snapped to the left. Standing behind a concrete pillar, about 30 feet away, was a man with a long-lens camera. He wasn't trying to hide anymore. He had the shot, and he was grinning. "Hey," Joe's voice boomed, the authoritative bark of a field captain. He stepped in front of Kate instantly, his body becoming a shield. "Back off." The photographer didn't back off. He lowered the camera slightly, his grin widening. "Morning, Cap. Nice morning for a walk." "Delete those," Joe said, his voice dropping to a dangerous octave. "Public space, Joe. First Amendment." The photographer backed away toward a waiting van, keeping the camera raised. "Safe flight, miss." Joe took a step forward, his fists clenched, the protective instinct flaring hot and violent. "Joe, no," Kate said, grabbing his arm. She felt the tension in his bicep, hard as rock. "Don't. That's what he wants. Just let me go." Joe stopped, breathing hard through his nose. He looked at the photographer, then at Kate. The realization washed over him. The damage was done. "Kate, I'm so sorry." "It's okay." Her voice was steady, but her heart was hammering a frantic rhythm against her ribs. "It's just a photo. We knew it would happen eventually. Not like this. Not when you're leaving." The driver opened the door. Kate squeezed Joe's hand one last time, then let go. The loss of contact felt physical, like a limb being removed. "Go win the series," she said, forcing a smile she didn't feel. "I'll call you the second I can." She got in the car. As it pulled away, she looked back. Joe was still standing in the garage entrance, watching her leave, looking like a man ready to fight a war. The flight was 6 hours of low-grade nausea. Kate paid for the exorbitant in-flight Wi-Fi, convincing herself she needed to check patient charts. She didn't check charts. By the time she was over Colorado, the picture was on Twitter. It wasn't just on Twitter. It was everywhere. The photo was undeniable. It was high resolution, captured in that slice of sunlight. They were looking at each other, not the camera. Joe's expression was soft, adoring, and completely open. Their hands were clasped tightly. She looked vulnerable. Her hair was slightly messy, her posture relaxed toward him. She didn't look like Dr. McCormick, trauma surgeon. She looked like a woman in love. But it was the headlines that made the bile rise in her throat. TMZ Sports, Russell's roster move, catcher caught cozying up to mystery blonde at team hotel. Bleacher Report, is this the secret behind Joe Russell's hot streak? Meet the new lady in the captain's life. DC Gazette Sports, the wall falling in love? Russell spotted, holding hands with unidentified woman on West Coast trip. And then, the comments. The endless, scrolling waterfall of public opinion. She looks older than him. Who is she? Model? Actress? Definitely not a model. Look at the outfit. Library chic. Lucky girl. Lock that down, Joe. New bag alert. The term WAG appeared repeatedly. Wives and girlfriends. An acronym that reduced a woman's entire existence to her proximity to a professional athlete. Kate shut her laptop with a snap. She stared out the porthole window at the clouds, feeling the walls of her carefully constructed identity shaking. She wasn't a WAG. She was a board-certified trauma surgeon, with 13 years of education and thousands of hours of operating time. She saved lives. She commanded rooms. But to the world below, she was just an accessory to number 33. When she landed at Reagan National, her phone reconnected to the network and nearly vibrated out of her hand. 42 text messages. 6 voicemails. Patricia Vance, turn off your phone. Don't look at the internet. Also call me immediately. Mom, is that you in the picture with the baseball man? You look tired, Catherine. Joe, I'm so sorry. I tried to kill the story, but it was already out. Dempsey is running interference. Don't read the comments. Please tell me you're okay. Joe, Kate? Joe, I'm going to throw up. I feel like I exposed you. I promised I'd protect you. Kate walked through the terminal, head down, sunglasses on. She felt eyes on her everywhere. Was that person looking at her? Did the TSA agent recognize her? Paranoia. Cold and sharp. Settled in. She finally typed back to Joe as she got into her Uber. I'm on the ground. I'm fine. It's just a picture, Joe. We're adults. It's not a crime. She was trying to soothe him, trying to be the rational one. But as the Uber merged onto the George Washington Parkway, Kate opened a news app she rarely used. Someone had identified her. Update. Mystery blonde identified as Dr. Catherine McCormick, top trauma surgeon at GW Hospital. The article didn't focus on her medical accolades. It focused on the fact that she lived in the same building as Russell. The girl next door? Sources confirm McCormick and Russell are neighbors at the Watergate. A romance brewing in the hallways? Is the distractingly beautiful doctor the reason for Russell's defensive resurgence? Distractingly beautiful. Kate felt a flash of hot, white anger. They were discussing her appearance, her living situation, her impact on his job performance, Her career was just a footnote, a sexy detail to spice up the narrative. She arrived at her apartment building to find two photographers camped out across the street. They raised their cameras as her Uber pulled up. Kate didn't run. She didn't hide. She straightened her spine, put on her bad news face, the one she used to tell parents their child wouldn't make it, and walked past them without acknowledging their existence. Dr. McCormick. Dr. McCormick, is it true you're dating Joe Russell? Doctor, how long has it been going on? Did you perform surgery on his heart, Doc? She keyed into the lobby, the heavy glass door shutting out the noise. The silence of the hallway was usually a relief. Today, it felt like a cage. She dropped her bag in her foyer and didn't even unpack. She sank onto her couch, still in her travel clothes, and stared at the indentation on the cushion where Joe had sat 3 weeks ago. Her phone rang. It was Thorne, the chief of surgery. Kate stared at the screen. Thorne never called on personal time unless the hospital was burning down. McCormick, she answered, her voice professional, steady. Kate, Thorne's voice was gruff. I've got media inquiries, calling the hospital PR department. Asking for quotes about our celebrity surgeon. Kate closed her eyes. I apologize, sir. It's a personal matter. It shouldn't affect the hospital. It's affecting the switchboard, Thorne said bluntly. I don't care who you sleep with, McCormick, but I care if the paparazzi start blocking the ambulance bay, hoping to catch a glimpse of a baseball star's girlfriend. Fix it. The line went dead. Baseball star's girlfriend. That was it. That was who she was now. 30 years of discipline, sacrifice, of building a reputation of ironclad competence, and in one camera flash, she had been reduced to a +1. Kate looked at her phone. Joe was calling now. She let it ring. She needed him. She wanted to hear his voice. But right now, looking at the way the world was rewriting her identity, she couldn't separate the man she loved from the machinery that was currently chewing her up. The external conflict hadn't just ignited, it was already burning down the house.